All right. I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank all of you for attending. Will the city clerk please take attendance?
All council members are present, Mr. Mayor, and the city attorney is joining via conference call.
Thank you. Item 3 is the approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any comments on the agenda from the public? Council, questions, comments? Call the roll.
Hager,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Doran.
Aye.
Okay. Item 4 is open forum. In order to provide equal access to all during the open forum and public comment portions of the meeting, each individual offering comments shall not exceed the allotted 3-minute period. The podium light turns green to yellow when there is 1 minute remaining. Your time for comment is expired with the podium when the light turns red. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the City Council on an item not listed on tonight's agenda? All right, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Action on the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any public comment on any items in the consent agenda? Council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Doran,
Aye.
Hager.
Aye.
All right, on to presentations and reports. SDSU Student Association, I invite Anna up.
Good evening. We had kind of a busy week last week on campus. Vice President Holbeck came and spoke with us about retention rates on campus. We have an 89% retention rate with our freshman into sophomore class, along with the third largest freshman class on campus record. We also had Resolution 25-1-R, which was voted on and passed, which is the Students Association support for city, county, and municipal elections taking place in November. Last Saturday, we were able to guard the Dakota marker. Even though it wasn't ours, we got to guard it. And we were on the sidelines with the NDSU Blue Key Honor Society and their Students Association, so we got to spend a little time commingling with the enemy, as they put it, when we told them that we were doing that. And then this week in Brookings, we have women's basketball hosting Augustana, along with men's basketball hosting Mayville State. We also have a football game on Saturday, along with volleyball hosting USD. End of report.
Thank you, Anna. Any questions for Anna? Thank you. Report on Downtown and Sundown 2025. Ainsley Bennett will give us an update.
Hello everyone, my name is Ainsley Bennett. I'm the event coordinator for the Brookings Area Chamber of Commerce, and as Oak mentioned, I'll be giving a review of the 2025 Downtown at Sundown series. To start with the basics, Downtown at Sundown is Thursday nights from 5:30 to 9:30, this year held from July 24th through August 21st. 2025 marked the 10th year of Downtown at Sundown, so a big milestone year for us, and the goal, as always, is to create a free all-ages event with a central gathering place for community members and visitors alike. For those of you that don't know the brief history, here's a quick synopsis. 2013, a community survey was put out to see if there was any interest of a festival-like event. There was. So in 2014, the city, CVB, and Downtown District started to strategize what that would look like and hired on an event consultant to begin planning that. In 2015, the first series was put on by the Visitors Bureau, originally 7 weeks, and in 2019, it was passed down to the Chamber, and we've been handling it ever since. With a great event comes a great team, and I'm super grateful for everyone that I have. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do all the work that I do, starting with chamber staff, Kelsey Doom, Lane Manson, Casey Stickland, and myself, as well as our awesome group of SDSU Event Day interns. That's Eleanor Wessler, Hannah Spoden, Riley Tervine, Musume Kroll, and Aaron Soltis. Touching on some theme nights and special editions throughout the series, we have 4 of our 5 nights have themes. The second week is our first theme night, which is Bobcat Night, which is partnership with the Brookings School District. They had 8 Bobcat-related attractions throughout the event space. The following week was the new resident welcome night, where our Connect committee interacted with over 50 new residents in the area. The following week after that was our multicultural night with 5 multicultural vendor booths present. And then our last night of the series, of course, is SDSU night with 9 related SDSU features. Some special additions I'd like to call out would be that Bose Construction had a sandbox trailer new in the kids zone, so really interactive for kids down in that area. The Brookings High School Band performed at Bobcat Night during intermission, which I think is a crowd favorite, so always happy to have them a part of it. Our 10th anniversary mural, for those who haven't seen, located on Sully's Wall. I'll touch on that a little bit more later, but a great way, again, to commemorate that milestone year. And then finally at SDSU Night, our guest speakers, Dr. Willis and Coach Dan Jackson, present as well. A quick vendor summary for all those that were present. We had a total of 41 vendors, which again, we sold out this year in vendor space and actually created a few extra spaces compared to last year. A breakdown of those vendors would be 7 food vendors, 14 business or nonprofit vendors, 13 retail vendors, 5 multicultural booths, as I mentioned before, and 12 of our sponsors were present. Comparing numbers from 2024 to 2025, that's 14 new vendors, and 27 returning. So very grateful for their participation throughout the series. On to the fun stuff, a quick overview of financials, starting with revenue. So very generously, the city allocated $20,000 towards Downtown at Sundown, which we're very grateful for. Sponsorships had more people interested this year, so higher numbers anticipated there. As I mentioned, vendors, we sold out in spaces there, so higher there as well. Our beer sales, or our bid that we will work with a local vendor at the space, they give us a portion of their sales. This was a new contract this year, so a little bit lower than anticipated, but still a great number to have. And then our in-kind trades, we just didn't have one trade go through this year, so that's reflected there as well. Total revenue, just shy of $88,000. On to expenses, so our operations, starting there, a little bit higher than anticipated. This is event supplies, paying staff, food and beverage throughout the week. We had a couple expenses from 2024 not processed till 2025, so that's recorded here. Our marketing under budget, this includes the cost for the mural, our entertainment, that is all of our band and any needs that they have. We were under budget there, and our in-kind, as I mentioned before. Our total expenses were just over $73,000, netting a profit of $14,587. Just want to touch briefly on some of the marketing efforts that we do. Our Downtown at Sundown social media Facebook page had just nearly 16,000 interactions, as well as our Instagram with over 3,000 interactions. Our website had 4,600 visits, and other marketing efforts include radio ads, Brookings billboard advertisements right outside our chamber office, town and county shopper ads, and a few articles in the Register pre- and post-season. On to attendance numbers. So this is a breakdown of a week by week of our attendance, starting with that first week of over 4,200 people. Typically in the first week, we only see anywhere from 3,000 to 3,500 people. So I'm excited to see that number go up. The second week being 4,100, and then, which is pretty standard, in the middle of the series, seeing a little bit of a dip that third and fourth week of 3,000 to 2,500 people, the third and fourth week. Our final week had 39,000 people. When you add all of this up, that's a total of 17,898 people present throughout the series, which is a 14% increase from last year. So excited to see those numbers trending back upward. And to wrap it up, just a quick SWOT analysis of the entire series, starting off with strengths. As I mentioned, we sold out of vendor space, so that high vendor demand of interest in people being involved. Our 10th anniversary mural and partnerships there. So we commemorated the milestone with a mural located on Sully's, and I just wanted to thank the Public Arts Commission, the South Dakota Arts Council, Chuck Bennis, our local artist, Kirsten Jestal with Downtown Brookings, and of course Sully's for helping us make the mural possible. Our last strength that I'll talk about is our volunteer support. We didn't really have a ton of volunteers last year and had to, couldn't take on our face painting booth, so we had to bring that back this year with the amount of volunteers that we had, so grateful for their support. Some weaknesses, power resources is always just a little bit of a struggle in that area. Some of the outlets aren't able to accommodate some of the power needs, but after working with the City Parks Department as well as BMU, we've come up with a pretty good plan. I'm no electrician, but I can make it work. And I think moving forward, we have a good action plan where we don't have to call anyone down to site anymore to help us resolve issues. And then crowd flow in space. With that many people and that many vendors, it's great to have, but sometimes it gets a little crowded. So just making sure everybody, with a chair or vendors feel comfortable in their space and making sure we all can fit. Opportunities, just building on that 10th anniversary momentum, looking forward, what can we do to keep adding to the event and making it a special place for event goers. I've listed our 2 theme nights, New Resident Welcome Night and Multicultural Night. Those are just our lower attended nights. Seeing if there's any opportunity to build or expand on those as we move forward. And with the economic merger between the 4 entities, Visit Brookings, the Chamber, Downtown Brookings, and BEDC, I think there's opportunities for Downtown at Sundown to grow with more ideas and more people involved. And lastly, some threats with an outdoor event. Weather is always an issue. Thankfully, no rain. I like to say I planned that, but never can control that one. Competing events, Jack's Bash 3 was the last week of August, so we had to adjust our timeline and move the event up a week, but wasn't too big of an issue, but still a concern. And then as well as the economic merger there. Just not sure where things are gonna shake out and how it's gonna go, so just keeping that in the back of our minds moving forward. Lastly, just wanted to thank everybody involved. The City of Brookings, First Bank and Trust, and all the sponsors listed on the screen. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do each year, so we really appreciate them. If anybody has any questions, more than willing to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ainsley. Any questions, comments from council? Councilmember Duran?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for this presentation. I think Downtown at Sundown is always highly anticipated, and I really appreciate all of the ideas that you've tried over the last few years of the themes and shifting the schedule and the layout and everything. It's really neat to see what's new every year and have our residents and visitors enjoy the vibrancy of Brookings. So first, thank you. I did have a question of, you noted the 14% increase in attendance. Like I said, you've tried a few different ideas. Have you noticed any real main pattern or theme of like adding in the theme nights or switching the layout, or maybe it's a marketing initiative or even the shift in schedule throughout the summer that has attributed to the increase?
I think, starting off, we kind of changed our accounting from last year involving AI a little bit, but I think with the attendance, I think that shift in the week earlier did kind of help. I know especially with some of our vendors and stuff like that, July they said was a slower period, and it doesn't really interfere with the school schedule, so I think that maybe that had something to play with it, but I think as we go on and as we change and evolve throughout the 10 years, it's kind of a little bit of everything that goes into it.
Sure, that makes sense. And then I also wondered, in addition to that, I know that the shift in schedule was so that some of the weeks were around the school schedule to engage more of the students. Have you noticed like any patterns of more students willing to come to Downtown at Sundown and be more engaged in the community?
Yeah, I think our biggest pull, we have SCSU athletics as well as a couple on-campus groups, like I think of the College of Engineering as well as Hobo Day. I think we've been seeing lots of interaction and interest from on-campus groups. With those groups, they have their own audience, and bringing a pull in for SCSU that way has been a really big success in the last 2 years.
Sure, that's great to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Truly enjoyable. I went to the first 3. I was unable to attend the last 2, but it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You guys do a good job. Thank you. Item 7A, action on the 2025-2027 Teamster Union, Local Union Number 120 Police Union Agreement. Casey Bell, our Human Resources Director, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. This item approves an updated agreement between the city and Teamster Local Union Number 120, who represents the police employees. The existing 3-year agreement is set to expire December 31st, 2027. This updated agreement includes 2026 salaries and overtime thresholds for patrol officers. Due to the fluctuation of sales tax, it's essential that the city allows salaries as an annual opener to ensure that expenses of increased pay do not outpace our revenues. For 2026, employees will be eligible for a 2.5% cost of living adjustment and up to a 2% merit increase based on performance. Additionally, the overtime thresholds for patrol officers were adjusted to better manage overtime expenses and maintain adequate staffing levels without compromising the 12-hour shifts that are preferred by our officers. The updated salaries are contained within the 2026 budget, and city staff recommends approval of the agreement.
Thank you, Casey. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment on this item? Council questions, comments? Councilmember Specker.
Casey, I have a question on the overtime. So I know it's been relatively high, and there's been a concern about that. By capping it the way it's been capped, is that taken into account in next year's budget estimates?
This would, right? So when we were going through the budgeting process, and once we've got the agreements approved with the union, we were able to reflect that change in our budget as well. Kudos to the PD team to work out and then analyze those numbers and say, okay, if we now our officers get overtime at 84 hours in a biweekly period versus at 80 hours, we can calculate that out and say, hey, this is what we anticipate as a savings.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments from Castle? Okay, please call the roll.
Specker,
Aye.
Tildenburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Doran,
Aye.
Hager,
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye. Item 7B, action on the 2025-2027 Teamster Local Union Number 120 General City Union Agreement. Casey Bell will also present this item.
Thank you, Mayor. This item approves an update to the existing 3-year agreement between the city and the Teamster Local Union Number 120, who also represents the general city employees. This agreement is also set to expire on December 31st of 2027. Similar to the police contract, the updated agreement includes 2026 salaries. Just like the police agreement, due to the fluctuation of sales tax, it's essential that the city allows salaries as that annual opener to ensure that our expenses of increased pay do not outpace our revenues. For 2026, employees will be eligible for a 2.5% cost of living adjustment and an up to a 2% merit increase. These updated salaries are also contained within the 2026 budget, and we recommend approval of the agreement.
Thank you, Casey. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment on this item? Public hearing is now closed. Council have any questions, comments? Council member?
Okay.
Lisa.
Double checking like no one
Sorry.
else had their hand. No, that's okay. Since this is my first time actually looking at these union agreements, I have this question, but I also think it would be helpful for anyone else who's watching our meetings. Could you give us a brief definition of who's included in the city general employees?
Yeah, so that would consist of most of the blue-collar workers that work within the city outside of the police, right? So you're looking at landfill employees, street employees, parks employees, forestry employees. I would say that makes up a majority of it. We've got a couple of employees in the community development office in there, but by and large, you're looking at that section of employees.
Any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Tildenburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Doran,
Aye.
Hager,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
All right, on to first readings. Item 8A, introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-034, the 2026 appropriations ordinance. Ashley Wrench, our finance director, will present this item.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. This is Ordinance 25-034, first reading of the 2026 Appropriations Ordinance. Each year, the city adopts a budget that sets the strategic and financial direction for the upcoming year. And the city's budget process spans 8 months and includes public workshops that ensure transparency and engagement. Tonight, of course, is the first reading, and at the next meeting, we'll have the second reading and adoption of the budget, as well as the 10-year capital improvement plan and the fee schedule. The 2026 budget serves as the city's policy tool, operations guide, financial plan, and communications device, and it reflects the City Council's 5 focus areas of fiscal responsibility, safe, inclusive, and connected community, service and innovation excellence, economic growth, and sustainability. These principles guide how we allocate our resources and plan for Brookings' future. The proposed 2026 budget totals $72,527,765, which is about 1% lower or $642,000 less than the 2025 adopted budget. Despite this slight increase, which is primarily driven by projects in our special revenue and enterprise funds, the budget maintains all essential services and supports continued investment in employees, infrastructure, and quality of life initiatives. The general fund totals $22.9 million and remains balanced with revenues equal to expenditures, and our core functions of public safety, public works, and parks, rec, and forestry account for roughly 73% of our general fund expenditures. On the revenue side, sales tax is projected to grow by 3% and property tax by 5%, reflecting steady economic health. The budget also includes continued investment in our workforce through wages, professional development, and training to maintain excellent public service delivery. The 10-year capital improvement plan outlines projects and equipment exceeding $25,000. For 2026, proposed CIP expenditures total $13.4 million, and key projects include our annual street maintenance of $4.5 million, our annual contributions to the SDSU Performing Arts Center and Brookings Health System at $1 million, and our last contribution for those would be in 2027. Our fire engine 3 replacement at $700,000, our Fifth Street gym improvements at $450,000, and police vehicles at $330,000. Together, these investments support safety, infrastructure reliability, and quality recreation spaces for our community. In summary, this budget maintains a strong fiscal foundation while advancing the city's strategic goals, and it balances essential service delivery with long-term sustainability. The second reading of this ordinance is November 18th, and with that, I'll stand by for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Is there any public comment on this item? Council have any questions, comments? Councilmember Hager.
All right, so I actually don't have a question. So I had a conversation with our city attorney about some of the items in our budget that impact my employer, which is South Dakota State University. And I want to take this opportunity to talk about how there is the possibility for a conflict of interest to arise just by the nature of that. But I did look at all of these different budget items that are in the budget that impact SCSU. And given the fact that I am an associate professor of political science in the School of American and Global Studies and the pre-law advisor, I am not directly involved with any of these budget items. And so students in political science and pre-law are not targeted for any of the city's scholarships, and they do not receive allocations from the Students Association fund that is in our budget that's related to promoting different events that are taking place on campus that would keep students either on campus or bring visitors to Brookings. And I'm not aware of any of the other students in my academic unit also benefiting from any of these different programs. Furthermore, neither myself or my immediate colleagues are involved in the activities at Research Park or within the School of Performing Arts or Aviation, which is impacted by our subsidy for the airport. But although I believe that I can participate fairly and I do not benefit personally or professionally from any of these agenda items, Vince, our city attorney, and I still thought that it was important to bring this up and talk about that, because obviously while I serve on city council as a private citizen and speak as a private citizen, I of course do have an employer. And so I just wanted to make sure that if my fellow members of council had any questions or had any concerns, that they could also voice those as well.
Thank you for the clarification. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Ashley. The next hearing will be on November 18th, correct? Okay. Item 8C, introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-033. No, we got to go back. 8B, I'm sorry. Introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-035. An ordinance pertaining to an application for a conditional use permit to establish an office in the residence R2 two-family district. Address is 717 and 719 Main Avenue. Mike Struck, our Community Development Director, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. The ordinance before you tonight is for a conditional use to establish office in a residential R2 zoning district. The location is 717, 719 Main Avenue. Many of you may recall this was a former dentist office. It was built as a dentist office originally. Over time, that dentist has since moved out. The property became available for sale, and the new owner purchased it with the intentions of establishing a small office in the location. This does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission. Development Review Team supports the request with the one condition that the conditional use permit is non-transferable. So if the property were to be sold for another office use or whatnot, that owner or applicant would need to come through this process again in the future. With that, I would stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions from public? Comments? Council have any questions or comments? So, Mike, what are the parking requirements in this? I see that you got probably, what, 5, 6 lots in the back?
Yeah, it does meet the requirements. I think 6 is what is required for this.
Are they able to use any of the parking spots that are in the front of the building as
They
part of
can-
their parking requirements?
They can utilize the spaces, but they don't count towards their
Okay.
off-street parking requirements. But that's where a lot of, if there's any clients or customers that would come, typically they're going to park out in front of the building on the street. There's diagonal parking there. But this is more designated for, any staff.
Sure.
That could come park on the rear side of the building.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Mike. Now we'll move on to 8C. Introduction and first reading on ordinance 25-033, an ordinance to change the zoning within the city limits, or City of Brookings, Outlet 19 in the northwest quarter of Section 23, excluding Lot H1 thereof, T110 North, R50W, as known as 213 West Highway 14 bypass, from residential R3 apartment district to business B3 heavy district. Mike Struck will also present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. With that nice legal description, this is more commonly known as the fraternity up on the bypass. And so the fraternity has moved out of here. The property's been vacant for a few years now. It's offered for sale. Prospective buyers come forward with the intent of potentially establishing like a small hotel motel out there. They're needing to rezone to commercial use. It is consistent with our future land use map that identified this area as a future business park location. So a B3 zoning would be consistent with that. It does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission. The Development Review Team supports the request, and it's consistent with the economic growth strategy. With that, I would stand for any questions you may have.
All right, thanks, Mike. Is there any public comment on this item? Council, have any questions, comments at this time? All right. Of all those first readings, we'll have second reading on the November 18th meeting. Other business, action on resolution 25-085, a resolution authorizing special assessments for lawn care. Ashley Renchel, our finance director, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Resolution 25-085, authorizing special assessments for lawn care. The city occasionally provides mowing and lawn care services when properties are out of compliance with city code. When those invoices remain unpaid, the amounts are added to the property tax assessment roll. For 2025, we have 3 properties with outstanding lawn care invoices totaling $3,213.40. These charges cover work completed by city staff to bring the properties into compliance, and the assessments will be added to the 2026 property tax roll. You'll notice that the third assessment is significantly higher than the other 2, and this is because it involved a tree removal in addition to the lawn care. Staff recommends approval of this resolution as presented, and I'll answer any questions you may have. Thanks.
Thank you, Ashley. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment on this item? Council have any questions, comments? Councilmember Specker.
Is this for lawn care that was done this past summer then?
Yes.
Okay. And they are given notices?
Yep, they are given past due notices. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Wendell?
Aye.
Avery?
Aye.
Doran?
Aye.
Hager?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye.
Specker?
Aye.
Tilton Burn?
Aye.
Item 10B, action on resolution 25-084, a resolution transferring city manager contingency funds to city departments. Ashley Wrench will also present this item.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Resolution 25-084, authorizing the transfer of contingency funds to the Street Division. The Street Division has exhausted its mosquito control budget due to increased spraying needs this year. Staff recommends transferring $24,000 from the city manager's contingency fund to the mosquito control account within the Street Division to account for the mosquito abatement activities through the end of the season. Staff recommends approval of this resolution as presented, and I'll stand by for questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any public comment on this item? Council have questions, comments? Ashley, what was, go ahead. Councilmember Specker?
Well, this might be more for John, like, is mosquito season over yet? I believe so. Thank you.
How much money did we have set aside for mosquito control to begin with? Did we have a line item? John's got it.
John Thompson, Public Works. I did anticipate that that question could arise. This year, we had $70,000 worth of orders, and we consumed about $71,000 worth of inventory. So we spent about $141,000 on mosquitoes this year just in supplies. That does not include equipment or labor. And we're going to be carrying over for this next year right around 39,000 of inventory for next year too.
Can you comment also on this? Can you comment also on the state cutting funding as well?
Yeah, the state funding, we used to get a grant funding from, I think it was tobacco each year. There's around about $9,000 is what I want to say, and that went away this year, and we do not anticipate that to come back. We were probably one of the lucky ones in the state of South Dakota because we didn't really receive that much money. Other jurisdictions received quite a bit more money, and they lost basically everything they budgeted for mosquito control. So it was good that we were on the ball and are already budgeting what we do budget for it.
Thank you, John. Councilmember Duran.
Thank you, John. Just hold on. Thanks. I just have two questions. One, with that grant, was that for testing or was that for like unrestricted supplies, or what was that grant used for?
That grant was used for supplies, but it really had no strings attached, so we could use it for labor, equipment purchases, anything. So it was kind of nice in that way.
Okay. And then my second question was it just an exponentially buggy season? Did we just have a major increase in mosquitoes, or okay? I just wondered what the main reason was.
Just due to the amount of rainfall that we had and the moisture in the ground, it comes and goes. It's kind of like snow. Some winter seasons, like this upcoming one's gonna be very light. Hopefully, no. Mm-hmm. But it just depends on how much moisture is in the ground from the summertime.
Sure,
and this year was perfect climate for mosquitoes.
Sure. Well, thank you.
Any other comments, questions from council? Please call the roll.
Avery?
Aye.
Doran?
Aye.
Hager?
Aye.
Niemeyer?
Aye.
Specker?
Aye.
Tilton Burn?
Aye.
Wendell?
Aye.
All right, item 10C, action on a preliminary plat for lots 1 through 7 in Block 1 of the Northeast Hanson Addition. Mike Struck will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. The preliminary plat before you tonight is for the N.E. Hanson property. It's laying out 54 acres on the east side of 34th Avenue, just south of the Highway 14 bypass. This was at your last meeting, the rezoning was approved. These will be for industrial lots. It lays out 7 lots out there for future economic development within the community. This does come to you as a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and the Development Review Team supports the request, and I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Is there any public comment on this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Justin Booker with Banner Associates, the engineer for Any Hansen LLC. Just available for any questions the council may have.
Okay. Is there any public comment also besides this? Council have any questions, comments? I have one. Do you have any idea, Justin, what the plan is for the property that is to the east of this?
We're still kind of working on that. A decent chunk of it is probably going to be used for drainage. It's currently not annexed, and I know one of the wishes of the city engineering department is that any future drainage pond improvements are annexed, and we're still kind of working through that.
Okay.
I think we're getting pretty close to having the drainage situation finalized, and when we do, we'll submit that final plan to the engineering and get that annexation.
The reason why I'm asking that is I don't, I mean, you're cutting off your access with the cul-de-sac and the properties there. And so if there was any future projects that would happen down on that side, you'd have to put a driveway into the diagonal on the highway there, and I don't know if that's going to be allowed to have a driveway there. So I just kind of asked them what the future plans were there. If you're going to put pond and everything right there, I guess that works really well. You could still access from the north, but I was just asking the question.
There is one driveway there now, and I would heavily doubt the DOT would allow a second driveway, but that is under DOT control of access.
Correct.
What he said.
Right, all right. Is there any other questions, comments from council? Please call the roll.
Doran.
Aye.
Hager.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tiltonburn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
All right. On to item 11, the progress report for the city of Brookings. Sherry Fuller Bordewick, our public information officer, will present the item tonight.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm pleased to present the October progress report. We'll start with the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department, which never has any shortage of projects happening. And this last month, they've had several playground replacements completed at Indian Hills, Pioneer Park, and Sarah Renee Park. They also have been working on the Hillcrest Aquatic Center with pool filters that are under construction there, and they're starting to lay out space for a shade structure that will be installed at the pool next year. The Larson Ice Center, of course, has become very busy with ice season, ice activity season upon us with hockey, ice skating, and curling. The forestry crews will plant approximately 250 trees throughout Brookings before the end of this year. They've been waiting for the temperatures to cool down, and I think that's finally happened. The Edgebrook Golf Course water sourcing project went out to bid this month. And then last Thursday, Mother Nature cooperated for the prescribed burn at Dakota Nature Park. The weather conditions were really ideal, and the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department collaborated with our fire department to conduct the burn on the hill at Dakota Nature Park, and everything went as planned. And over time, residents can expect to see more vibrant, resilient prairie ecosystem there, and probably more wildflower activity also. We want to especially thank our volunteer firefighters who devoted some of their day to help with that burn. We appreciate all that they do to help take care of the city. Public Works also had projects that they were completing. The engineering division, there were a couple of those this month. The 2025 asphalt maintenance project and the Arrowhead Park Trail and Drainage Improvement Project. Both of these items still have a few punch list items and cleanup remaining, but are largely done. Then 32nd Avenue and Capitol Street, the 32nd Avenue has been paved and striped from 6th Street to Capitol Street, and the sanitary sewer has been installed on Capitol Street, with paving yet remaining to be completed this year. So those are exciting projects to have done. Also, the first phase of the 20th Street South shared use path from Main Avenue to Branch Creek has been completed, and the second phase from Branch Creek to 22nd Avenue has started with concrete work. So you'll see those happening as you drive by. The Dakota Bank Center hosted 8 event days in October. One of those you see pictured on the slide, and that was the Pink Ladies Dart Tournament. That drew an impressive attendance of 2,652 people and welcomed participants from all over the United States and Canada. So that was a big event. Upcoming events at the Dakota Bank Center are the PRCA Rodeo coming up November 7th and 8th, and then the Monster Truck Nitro Tour on November 15th, and then the Concert by Chicago on November 16th. So check out all of those things on the Dakota Bank Center's website and social media and buy your tickets. For Public Works, we'll return to Public Works and talk this time about the Solid Waste Division. The Food Compost Pilot Program launched October 13th, and to date we've collected more than 200 pounds of food waste. And we've distributed probably by now close to 200 starter kits. We do want to remind people that we have starter kits yet available. Those include your free bucket with some bags to go inside the bucket and an instruction sheet, and we have those available for free yet in the Parks and Rec office on the main floor of our building here. So stop in, pick up your free bucket. We'll have them available until noon on Friday, this Friday, Halloween, or until they vanish. Pun intended. And if you haven't seen the mayor's and Council Member Specker's video promoting those buckets, I encourage you to check out the city's Facebook page so you can see that. Drop-off locations, just as a reminder, drop-off locations for your food compost at the East Fire Station, the South Fire Station, the landfill, and the street department. We're just happy that so many people have been interested in participating in this program. Then we'll talk about the library. The library has some fun news. The Friends of the Library hosted their fall book sale in mid-October, and they actually had their best sales to date with just over $9,000 in profit. So that is really exciting. And from that and other funds that they have saved, they were able to gift the library nearly $13,000 to support programming and collections, and that's really tremendous. We're thankful for the Friends of the Library group who really love their library, take pride in it, and work as a nonprofit volunteer group to raise money to help support it. Their next book sale will be in April 2026, so mark your calendars. The police department had several community policing opportunities this month, including Coffee with the Cop, Breakfast with Badges, and then a presence at the Downtown Fall Classic, SDSU football games, and Brookings Homecoming. Of course, also in October is one of our favorite times of the year, Hobo Day, and they had a successful Hobo Day. This was the second year in which they have closed Main Avenue partially for that evening and day, just especially for the evening for pedestrian safety. And the Hobo Day weekend police statistics came in favorably with 219 calls for service and 7 arrests. and that compares to 229 calls for service and 26 arrests in 2024. And then also something to look forward to, the police department will host its third annual Veterans Day Thanksgiving meal for local veterans and their families on Sunday, November 16th. And that will take place at the United Methodist Church's Community Life Center. And it's just a really nice way for the police, both the officers and the civilian members of the police department, to prepare and serve a meal as a way to show their appreciation for our local veterans and to honor their services and sacrifices to our country. Then last but not least, the city would like to invite the public to attend a community meeting that we are hosting on Monday, November 3rd, to talk about the proposed plans for a new police station near Maderi Elementary. This meeting, there will be 2 sessions. They will take place at the Brookings High School cafeteria. The Brookings High School is at 530 Elm Avenue, and the public is invited to attend one of the 2 sessions. The first session will be from 4 to 6 p.m. with a presentation at 4:30. The second session, 6 to 8 p.m. with a presentation at 6:30. And that time before and after, people are encouraged to come and view some of the plans, some of the information, and ask questions of city officials who will be in attendance. You can find information about that. We'll be sharing that on our social media, but you also can find information about that right now on our website under the news section. And with that, I will wrap up the October progress report, and I will stand by for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Paul, do you want to latch on to the community meeting a little bit?
Yeah, first of all, Sherry, you did a fantastic job with this month's progress report. Just want to make sure the community hears and sees this announcement regarding the police facility and the discussions. Really, the city and the school really wanted to have a conversation with the neighborhood and the community first before we progress this idea to the city council and the school for further public conversations. So we really want to make sure that the public understands that we're going to have 2 meetings, a lot of information, a lot of questions have been asked about this project, and we definitely hope anyone and everyone can make it. Once again, this is the first step in a long process of rebuilding and identifying a site for the next police facility, and we hope that people will attend so we can answer all the questions that they might have, as well as gain insight from individuals that might have further questions that we haven't even thought of.
All right, thank you. Council, any comments or questions? All right, it'll be interesting after they have the big truck thing. They've got 24 hours before Chicago comes in to perform. It's going to be a quick turnaround there. That should be interesting to see what happens. I might just sit in the stands and watch because it could be entertaining. Our next meeting will be November 18th. I will not be attending that meeting. I will be out of town. Councilmember Deputy Mayor Wendell will be running it. And we have on the consent agenda some renewals and liquor and wine renewals. There'll be students' report, ex-official reports for BMU and hospital board. By that time, hopefully a bid award for the Edgebrook water sourcing. And then we do have one wine license renewal hearing. And then the first readings that we had this evening, we'll have second readings on. Adoption of the fee schedule and adoption of the 10-year CIP also. And then there will be an executive session. Any other comments or questions from council? Are there any items the council would like to bring up for future meetings at this time? All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.